All right, Des, lots of people watching will be familiar with you and the meme hashtag blame Des. But for those people who are new here today, can you tell us a bit about you and what a studio producer does?
Yeah, so my name's Des. I am the producer here on Fishing. Have been working on the fishing game for coming up to 5 years this year, actually. So the role of a producer is to kind of bring together all the connecting parts throughout the dev team and the publishing company. And I kind of often liken it to the conductor of the orchestra, where I have dates I need to hit, I have quality levels to hit, and we have budgets to keep within. So it's about playing all those things together and making sure that the whole team is focused and concentrating on delivering the right product at the right time for the right audience.
So what kind of teams do you actually touch on? 'Cause obviously, I think people may assume that you work mostly within dev, but there's a lot more to it than that, right?
Oh, sure, sure. First of all, it's with the dev team. So I've got the designers, we've got the artists, both on the character artist front and on the environment artists. Um, then we've got the artists making all the equipment. Then we've got the engineers doing the programming, developing new features, improving the underlying systems as well as bug fixing. Then we've got the QA department who have to obviously test all the different features and the changes, and every little change that goes on needs testing. Then we've got the audio department that are trying to make the obviously the sounds and the atmosphere within the game as realistic as possible. And then there's interacting with the community team and the publishing team like yourself, Ben, and making sure that everything that we're doing on the development team is working towards making sure that the players are happy with the game that we're making for them. So we're constantly listening to feedback from the community, what they're liking, what they're not liking, any issues that they've got, and then it's a case of us prioritizing where the dev team are working in order to continually be improving the quality of the product.
Amazing. So what do you enjoy most about what you do then?
Oh, I mean, this is kind of like a dream job for me. I'm here combining two of my favorite passions, which, fishing and gaming together. So it's a childhood dream job for me, and I've enjoyed I really enjoy it, and as you can imagine, yeah, being able to go to explore these different venues to
Mhm.
fish myself, and getting hands-on experience with the actual fishing, meeting and just chatting about the game and the features with the pros and the partners, all the different fishing brands that we've got, as well as sort of interacting with the community, getting people excited about the competition and the multiplayer. So yeah, it all ties into to make it a fun job to have. That's for sure.
Amazing. So, Bassmaster Fishing 2022 was released on October 28th, 2021. And on January 20th, 2022, we have released the Predator Equipment Pack. So, I'll play the trailer so that everyone can see it and get excited if they haven't already got it. But then we'd love to hear your thoughts on, what comes with the pack and what it's all about.
The Predator equipment pack is a really exciting one for me, actually. It's the I think it's the strongest pack we've ever done. Really liking the clothing customization and the boat wraps that we've got going on here. There's some really fun stuff that I think the players are really going to enjoy showing off out in multiplayer, as well as in the obviously in the single player. We've got some awesome looking new rods and reels coming from Favorite Fishing. There's some beautiful color schemes going on there in those setups. I'm not sure if all players probably possibly aren't like me, but I like to color coordinate my outfit to my boat wrap and then often to my equipment as well. So the rod and reel I'm out holding is an important part of that, because I want to look as good as I possibly can when out on the water.
As you should.
Um, yeah, and obviously we got some great new lures from 13 Fishing in there. The brilliantly named Poppy McPopface, and as well as the Glidesdale lure, which is an awesome swim bait that has a sort of beautiful action on it. And then for the first time, we've got Bagley Lures in the game. So Bagley is a well-known brand. They make their lures with balsa wood, which gives them a buoyancy that you don't get from other materials that you make the lures from. So it's exciting to get those in the game and allow people to be able to have even more choice on what they use to fish with.
Awesome. So if you had to pick a favorite item or thing that is in this equipment pack, what would it be?
Um, I would say it's got to be the Predator, uh, the Predator shark mouth boat and snood. I think it just looks stunning with the hat with the eyes. I think it's just a lot of fun and allows people to show off and have fun whilst being serious in their competition.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's the one a lot of people are most excited for. So it's going to be really interesting to see, what people are repping now when they're out on the water. So I'm keen to see what people go for. So I was actually going to mention Bagley Lures because you've already done it, but I was going to ask you, what's the process like of actually getting new items like products from Bagley into our game? Like, what's the process of actually getting that to actually happen?
So first of all, that starts with a conversation with the brand. Now, those guys are experts on bass fishing, well, or fishing in general. Obviously the focus that we've got here with this game is about the bass fishing. So we have open discussions about which of their lures or their pieces of equipment are going to be best or most suitable for targeting the bass, and then which colors, varieties of each lure sell the most in the real world, because this is all real world equipment that we're making here. So it's about trying to get the highest quality and most popular and desirable items that bass anglers are picking up and purchasing in the real world, and getting those into the game for players to experience.
So can you talk on the actual process and work that goes into creating the Predator equipment pack? Like, how does it get from concept to releasing it?
Sure. So that's part of my job on the production side is I need to gather all the reference materials for the equipment items. So I will put together a pack of information that then gets handed over to the artists. As well as including the way that item looks, that also includes details on how that lure needs to perform. So what depth it needs to dive to, the sort of the types of and the sizes of different fish species that could possibly be attracted to that particular lure. So then the artists will create that item in as a 3D model. It then comes down to sort of texturing that item and doing the different textures on it for the color patterns. Then on the design side, the designers have to then set that up and get that operating and functioning in game properly. And then obviously on the legal side, we have to then send that back to the brand themselves to get their approval and make sure that they're happy that we're representing their product in our game as accurately as we possibly can.
Hmm. So what do you think is the most challenging part of creating original content that's going to go into a game?
So it's about sort of trying to make sure that the items that we're putting out there in a pack are going to be desirable and people are going to want to purchase that pack and to use those items. And it's also about just sort of expanding the fishing experience and making sure that that we're not just doing the same thing over and over again, and that we're giving players new options and new ways to play, and new ways to be able to target the fish that they're wishing to target.
So, what's your moving away from drilling you on Dev Talk for a minute? What's your favorite venue of the venues we currently have that you would go to fish on in game in Bassmaster?
My favorite, I think, is I really like the Sabine River. I think that's it has there's so many little bits to go and explore and to find, and there's some real sweet spots that are far away from the start, the start
Mm-hmm.
point. So it might be a little bit of a journey down there, but the payoff for getting there can be really good. And it's just a beautiful environment with the trees and the little offshoots of the river, especially when you got the sun rising or the sun setting. It looks stunning. It's got a different feel, and it just feels large. It just feels like I'm in a
Yeah.
really big environment, and with lots to explore.
And doesn't Sabine River have a bit of an Easter egg on there too, visible from Google Earth?
There is a certain part of the Sabine River that does have some hidden elements under the water. Yeah, I've not how many. I believe the community have found those now.
Some of them
But
have,
yeah,
yeah.
and that is based on real life, and you can see those sunken boats from Google Maps, like you say. So yeah, there's a whole story behind those. So yeah, we thought it was a nice feature to add into the venue.
Yeah, so if you are playing the game and you want to find those shipwrecks, maybe try using Google Maps and having a look, and then try and find it in the game, and maybe you'll see it. Talking of fishing then, so what would be, and you're probably giving away some tips here for some of our players, what's your go-to loadout then? What are you using to catch some giant bass?
Um, well, it sort of depends where I'm kind of fishing, really. Um, if I'm if I'm out in the deep, more open water, I'll probably just use a crankbait. But if I'm sort of wanting to skirt around the edge, or into some drop offs where I want to get where I want the lure to sink a bit quicker, I might use a jig head with maybe a size 3.0 hook on
Mhm.
it. By going for the 3.0 hook, what I'm doing there is I'm sort of trying to cut down the chances of the smaller fish taking it. So there's less chance of being taken by a crappie or a bluegill, for example, and I'm more likely to get those big bass on the line. That are the ones I'm looking for.
Nice. Okay. So moving away from Predator Pack stuff for a moment, I want to talk about something that I have been representing for our community for a while, which is beards. They have been a highly requested and discussed thing that people would like to see in the game by the community. And we're obviously very happy to say that beards are coming very soon. So, what have been the challenges for getting beards into Bassmaster?
So, well, yeah, it is exciting. Like you say, we've long wanted beards into the game. Obviously, we've given people a little taster with the Santa beard that we
Hmm.
did for our festive period. Um, the the main challenge is sort of getting first of all, getting the beards looking great. So we've got the character team has been expanded. We've got people that have got a lot of experience with hair within the game. So not our the hair in this game is so much better than any of our previous games, and the beards is sort of obviously the natural extension of that. So the trouble, a tricky part of it is obviously, with so many different heads for the players to choose from. um the beard has to work exactly, correctly with each of those heads, but each of those faces, those jaw lines are all sort of slightly different shapes.
Mm.
So there's been a lot of working with the morph, I think they call morph targets, which is about adjusting the beard so it fits nicely, correctly on the character's face that they've selected. So yeah, it's making it look quality, and then going through the QA process, testing each beard with each face, and making sure that the quality is there where we need it to be.
So what kind of beards should they be expecting to see? Like what kind of stuff are people going to be able to represent?
Oh, there's all sorts of beards. So you could have just sort of a light stubble. You could go to the big, like, more like mine. You could go to the big beard like yours. You could go to the sidey, the goatee. There's a whole range of options for players to mess around with there. So yeah, I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it, and it just you know it just makes them look a lot more a lot more natural, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not
mean, I
everyone's
can't
clean
wait.
shaven.
I cannot wait to have a beard in the game because I want to look more like me. I think that's like I don't know
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
everyone else, but I know when I'm playing a game, I like to try and make a mini me in there. That's
Always.
that's just how it is. I don't know why. All right, so since launching the game, we've been very busy. We've put out 5 updates for bug fixes and improvements. Now we're coming in with the Predator equipment pack, and a lot of what we've been doing in terms of bug fixes and improvements has been very community driven. So we're always talking to and listening to the community and trying to juggle that priority of this is obviously a bigger issue in the community than some of the other things. Maybe we should try and get that fixed first, or that's a really good idea for an improvement that we can probably implement quite quickly. So let's see if we can get that done for people to improve their quality of life. We obviously had the festive mastery challenges, and beards are just around the corner. And we are continuing to work hard on the game, constantly listening to the community, taking on their feedback, and working on improving the game. But moving forwards, Des, what can we say about what is coming to Bassmaster 22, the game, without giving away any direct spoilers?
Yes. So there's lots more to come to this game still. Lots more to come. So we have, obviously, as I said, we've got artists, we've got programmers. Now, the artists are in charge of creating the content. Whether that's new venues or new equipment, new outfits, all that, new boats or boat wraps, all that fun stuff. And then obviously we got the programmers that and the whole team has been continuing to work since launch, and we had a little break for Christmas, but yeah. But yeah, the thing that a lot of people don't sort of that aren't familiar with game development sort of what might not realize is that our ability to put extra content into the game is totally separate from our ability to be able to improve the underlying gameplay and to whether fix any issues or improve features. So the fact that we are making a Predator equipment pack and putting out new content hasn't stopped us being able to improve the multiplayer or fix all the any underlying gameplay issues. So all that work continues and will keep continuing. So we've got we have a roadmap of feature improvements and extra content that we want to release over the next 12 months, and then there is the classic coming up, so we've got something special lined up for to coincide with the classic as well. So there's going to be a lot for players to get involved with and have fun with over the next over the coming year. It's going to be great.
Amazing. All right, Des. Well, look, thank you so much for joining me. I think that's been very insightful and educational as well for people who are watching. So thank you for taking some time out to join me, and you can go back to work now.
You're welcome. Lovely to talk to you.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye.